Welcome to the Nutrition Screencast. In this screencast and the few following lessons, we'll be discussing nutrition with 3 overarching objectives. By the end of these lessons, you as the student will be able to identify go, slow, and woe foods. You'll be able to describe what makes a full plate by the My Plate template that we'll be discussing shortly, and you'll be able to explain why healthy decision-making is important. We'll start by looking at go, slow, and woe foods. Go foods are foods that are good to eat almost all of the time. You can find these in every meal of every day. Slow foods are sometimes foods. They're okay to eat once in a while, but not every day. And woe foods are foods that aren't good for your body. These foods should only be consumed once in a while, not every day, and definitely not in every meal. Let's look at examples of foods in each of these categories. In class, we'll be using a stoplight to associate go, slow, and woe foods with colors: green for go foods, yellow for slow foods, and red for woe foods. Examples of go foods include fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, meat with a low fat content like white meats or chicken, beans, skim milk, and water. Examples of slow foods, again, these are foods that are okay to eat sometimes but not every day, include vegetables cooked in added fat or sauces. This is a big difference from fresh vegetables in the go category because of how they're prepared. Adding fats like oil or butter to the cooking process changes how healthy a food is for your body. Waffles or pancakes without syrup or butter are slow foods, along with foods that are slightly higher in fat content or have some added sugar. Many cheeses are higher in fat, peanut butter has added oil as a preservative, and fruit juices like orange or apple juice often contain added sugar. Mixed nuts, although they have great health benefits, is a food that should be eaten in moderation, which is why they fall into the slow foods category. Woe foods are all foods that you should completely avoid if possible. Anything that's deep fried falls into this category, like French fries, donuts, or fried chicken. Things that are very high in sugar, like maple syrup, ice cream, cookies, or cakes, and foods that are extremely high in fat content, like bacon. So My Plate is a way that we can design meals that contain foods from each of the 5 different food categories or food groups. These categories are fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy. Sometimes it's difficult to fit all 5 foods into one meal, so we can make these up in snacks between larger meals. When we create a full plate, we're creating a meal that contains each of these 5 food groups, focusing on adding go and slow foods mostly to our plate. We're going to examine the benefits of each category, starting with fruit. All kinds of fresh fruit are packed with vitamins and minerals. They help with your heart, brain, and immune system. We should try to avoid canned or dried fruit that often have added sugar and stick to fresh fruit instead. Vegetables are also packed with vitamins and minerals. They help your heart and your blood. Vegetables also contain dietary fiber that helps your digestive system stay clean and moving. We should try to avoid vegetables that are cooked in added fat like oil and butter and stick to fresh or steamed vegetables instead. Eating whole grains gives your body lots of energy. Grains are rich in fiber and also contain more vitamins and minerals. Grains are often referred to as carbohydrates. Try to avoid refined grains like white bread or white pasta and stick to whole grains instead. Protein is used to build and repair tissue. It's an important building block of bones, muscles, skin, and blood. Try to avoid proteins that are deep fried or very high in fat content. Instead, choose proteins like grilled chicken, steak, or beans. Dairy is a great source of nutrients, such as calcium and protein. Calcium is used to build and maintain strong bones. Your heart, muscles, and nerves also need calcium to function properly. Try to avoid sources of dairy that have a higher fat content. Choose instead fat-free milk or plain, non-fat yogurt. Now to look at a few examples, we're going to go through a few examples, one of breakfast, lunch, and a dinner plate. And each meal, there's one food group that's missing, and we're going to try to figure out what it is and what we can add to the meal to make it a full plate. Again, there are 5 food groups in a full plate: fruit, vegetables, grains, proteins, and dairy. Something that's important to note about the My Plate template is the food portions. You'll notice that the vegetable and grain sections are a little larger than the rest. This is because your body needs a little more of them and a little less dairy in comparison to each other. So to start off with breakfast, we're eating scrambled eggs with spinach, a slice of whole grain toast, and a banana. If you'd like to try to figure out what's missing by yourself, you can pause the screencast now. First, we need to identify what types of foods we already have. Scrambled eggs and eggs in general are a type of protein, and spinach is a vegetable. Whole grain toast is a grain, and a banana is a fruit. So the area or the food group that's missing here is dairy. We have a few options to add dairy to our meal. One is that we could add a small glass of fat-free milk, or we could sprinkle a low-fat mozzarella cheese on our eggs to melt together. For lunch, we're having rice and beans, carrot sticks, and string cheese. Again, if you'd like to pause the screencast to figure out what's missing by yourself, do that now. The first thing we need to do, again, is identify what we already have on our plate. Rice is a type of grain, and beans are a type of protein. Carrots are vegetables, and string cheese, as a type of cheese, is dairy. Here, we're missing a fruit, which can be added many ways. The healthiest option is to choose a fresh fruit, like an apple or diced melon. Finally, for dinner, we're having steamed broccoli and a pita with fruit in plain, fat-free yogurt for dessert. Now, mentioning how the food is prepared is very important for many different foods. Steamed broccoli is classified as a go food, but if it were broccoli that was sauteed in oil or mixed with a sauce, that would change it to the slow food category. This is going to be important when we move forward and you're creating your own plates. Again, you can pause this now and find the missing food on your own. Together, we'll look at the types of food that we already have. Broccoli is a vegetable, a pita is a grain, fruit is, of course, fruit, and yogurt is a type of dairy. What we're missing here is a protein, and we can add a protein in a lot of different ways, but again, it's important to specify how the protein is prepared. I could add fish or steak or chicken, for example. So if I choose chicken, I would specify that I'm adding grilled chicken and not fried chicken, making a better and healthier decision. Adding that grilled chicken as our protein would make this a full plate with all 5 of the My Plate food groups. Finally, you're going to try to make a whole day's worth of plates, of full plates, just like when we looked at those examples. It's difficult for you, if it's difficult for you to get every food and every meal, you can add small snacks into your day. Remember to choose almost all go foods and some slow foods. You should avoid woe foods altogether. Also, remember to include how some foods are prepared, just like how we discussed earlier the differences between steamed and sauteed broccoli, along with fried or grilled chicken. Think outside the box and include many different types of foods. Write down your meals and bring them to class tomorrow. We've also spoken in class about your homework blog. This is another reminder to go to our classroom blog, Education Collaboration, and respond to each of the 2 prompts. The first prompt is, why do we eat? You can look back on this screencast or you can view the Prezi independently to get some ideas of where to start on this prompt. And the second prompt is healthy decision making, where you'll respond to your interview with the grocery shopper in your house about the decisions that they make while they're in the grocery store. There are many ideas of how to get started with this interview in the blog itself. You can ask about whether they take a list, if they look at food labels, or if they think about making full plates. After you respond to these prompts, respond to at least one of your classmates, remembering proper online blogging etiquette. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please let me know, either in class or by email.